Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Really do appreciate your time. Shouts out to everybody that's watching this on a Friday night. I'm sorry for the very late edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Normally, I don't go live this late, but Paxton, he had his first flag football game of the winter season on tonight. And, they got the victory, man, in ripping fashion. They end up having a go-ahead touchdown with a minute left on the clock, man. They were trailing by 5, and they end up scoring a winning touchdown, man, with under a minute left, man. It was some ripping stuff right there. Shouts out to the Packy, man. Got himself 2 flag pulls and also played a little quarterback, man, a little RPO action. My boy was out there doing a little RPO game that had a rushing touchdown out there that set up a rushing touchdown. So I'm just excited, man. He's happy. He was just excited about the win. And, man, it's just so good to see those kids out there, man, putting it all together and doing their thing. But I did want to talk a little bit, continue our talk about Saints quarterback Drew Brees. Of course, we know Drew was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Thursday night at NFL Honors. So once again, congratulations to the legendary quarterback. And I basically talked yesterday, if you're watching this on a Friday night, I talked a little bit about, Drew Brees and what he meant to the city, what he meant to me, as a Saints fan growing up, and, somebody that understands Saints football. I mean, I've been watching Saints football, man, my entire life for almost over 30 years, 39 years old. So, I go back as far as 4 years old. I can remember listening to the New Orleans Saints. But I wanted to open up the phone lines tonight. I did. I want to hear some of these stories. There were so many members of the Who Dat Nation that chimed in on the last episode and wanted to, express themselves. And, I didn't have the right resources at the time on yesterday, but I got my brand new audio box just came in today. So I'm back up and running, man. We fully operational here on the State of the Saints podcast, but I am going to open up the phone lines. And I also want to say thank you to all the people that submitted those kind words. A couple episodes ago, I kind of pretty much pulled my heart out, and I do apologize. I know some people didn't want to hear no sob story, but like I said, man, that's just how I roll here on the State of the Saints. I don't try to hide anything from anybody. I consider everybody that comes across this channel and have been rocking with me since the beginning or whenever you fell in as family. And as family, you talk about some of the things that are on your mind. So shouts out to, everybody that understood, where I stood, where I was and what I was feeling. And also shouts out to the people, that, had a little something to say. There's always going to have individuals have something to say that's way out in left field. Like, I don't know this individual's name, but basically said that I'm just upset that my podcasting life isn't what I think that it is, or what it cracked up to be, or it's not making the big bucks. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. Like I said, I'm driven by passion, and all you have to do is do a few little quick clicks, and you'll see that the State of the Saints podcast is every damn well. Matter of fact, I was actually, this is no lie, I was actually on Yahoo Sports. I was just trying to look up some stuff pertaining to the New Orleans Saints. And as soon as you click on Yahoo Sports, lo and behold, who pops up but the State of the Saints podcast? I had absolutely no idea that Yahoo Sports was taking clips from the State of the Saints podcast. But that goes to show you how far we have come as a podcast. So for anybody that just think that it has anything to do with the lack of traction or lack of motion, no, sir. No, ma'am. All right. But I appreciate the love and support that people show to the show. And once again, even if you don't want to chime in when I open up the phone lines, feel free to put your comments in the chat. But I'm going to open up the phone lines really soon. But I'm going to go ahead and set it up for those that may not have checked out the last episode where I talked about Drew Brees. I mentioned that Drew Brees is a bona fide certified legend. And what he meant to the city of New Orleans is beyond words. The fact that Drew Brees transformed the city, and he was that hope that New Orleans needed during a time when New Orleans was at its lowest. And I mentioned this before. You had a lot of people that was displaced because of Hurricane Katrina. You had family members. Some of them moved to Colorado. Some of them was like, out in Nebraska somewhere, New York City, Florida. I mean, just completely all over the map. There were two things that kind of drew people together during that time. I can remember I was a sophomore at Dillard University. For those that don't know, I didn't go to Jackson State my entire college life. I started off at Dillard University. My freshman year, I finished the full freshman year, and I was maybe 2 weeks into my sophomore year at Dillard University. And, I ended up being displaced, moved to Mississippi, where my grandfather, ironically, had a house that he built. Well, I won't say he built, but he bought a house that was, it was a little bit of a fixer-upper. And I never forget this. Like, I know this kind of, like, I know we talking about football, but I promise you we're going to get into it. But I can remember, like, my grandfather, like, before Hurricane Katrina hit, we were going back and forth to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where the house was, and he was just doing a little fixing up here, fixing up there. We'll probably stay there for a couple of days and then go back to New Orleans. And, I remember one day he stood in a kitchen where he was working, and I can remember the kitchen had the checkerboard floors, and he stood in the middle of the floor, and he told me, he said, "I don't know why I got this house." But anyway, long story short, a month later, everybody that got displaced and had to go from New Orleans to Vicksburg was up in that house. And I can remember telling my grandfather, "You got your answer. That's the reason why." God was in the midst of that. But at the end of the day, people were displaced. People were like all over the place, and the thing that brought people together were two things. It was Facebook, if you were in college, right? At the time, Facebook was like a college thing. So you was able to interact with some of your friends that may have been able to link to Facebook, and also the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints were the thing that brought everybody together, and the Saints were trash in 2005, right? They were 3-13, but in 2006, when Drew Brees came along and the New Orleans Saints started to look unfamiliar to the old reliable Saints fans, when Drew Brees came to town, when Sean Payton came along, and they aligned and made the New Orleans Saints a credible franchise. And I mentioned that Dallas Cowboy game on a Sunday night. That was the entire world looking at the New Orleans Saints. That's when everybody realized that the New Orleans Saints weren't the same team. There was another game. I think it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Saints didn't win this game, but the heart that they fought in that game just told me, okay, man, this team different. They built different. And Drew Brees just continued to just build on his legacy and put the hopes and lift up the city when they needed something to believe in. So, like I said, there are certain things in life that transcend the game. Whatever game it is, baseball, basketball, football, it just transcends the game. And Drew Brees did that. And I think there's a special place for individuals that do things like that take snake-bitten franchises and turn them around and legitimize them. I just think that it's bigger than winning 4 or 5 Super Bowls. And I'm not just saying that because the Saints have only won one. I'm just saying when a team, a franchise is just known for being inept and the pieces start to align, or an individual just comes in and becomes that centerpiece and changes the misfortunes of the team, changes the narrative of the team, you got to put them in a special place. That is the reason why I think that New Orleans needs to celebrate Drew Brees. The New Orleans Saints need to put a statue by the end of the year. I know it's coming, but they need to put a statue smack dab in the middle of the Superdome on Porter Street of Drew Brees. by the end of the year. Because I don't think, like, maybe if you've been around New Orleans for a while, you probably could think of somebody more important. But I don't think anybody has been more important to the state of Louisiana when it comes to bringing people together and giving people hope than Drew Brees. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I think that's a fact. Like, it's hard to find individuals like that. And he deserves every bit of attention that he is going to get over the next few months, because everybody knows that Drew Brees, when he was in the NFL, I don't think a lot of people fully appreciated how great he was. But now I think over the next few months, when we start to see these documentaries come out, and hopefully we see a football life with Drew Brees like they do with so many others, they bring that back. I just hope that people have an appreciation for who Drew Brees was, not only on the field, but off the field as well. All right, I'm going to read a few comments and then we're going to open up the phone lines. Says, I appreciate you. You were the first Saints podcast I ever listened to. I found out great because of you. So thank you for what you do. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for finding this podcast. I appreciate you for rocking with this podcast. And, you know, I just thank y'all, man. I really do. I thank every single person, whether you was here from the beginning or you just rolled up on this podcast at any time. If this is your first time listening tonight, thank you. And hopefully this won't be your last time. I just appreciate the love and I just appreciate the support, because, man, y'all don't know. Sometimes, you know, it can get a little frustrating and, you know, I get a little down, man. I'm a human being. And when you see such amazing people like that come across your timeline, when you see so many great members of the Who Dat Nation that come in with stories and questions and motivation, man, it means a lot. The reason why Drew is the GOAT is because he had a career-ending injury and was kicked to the curb, basically to come back better to a losing franchise, win a bowl, and have a triple crown. Yeah, look, I mean, you pretty much said a mouthful here. It was a guy that, you know, the San Diego Chargers had a tough decision to make, you know, when they drafted Phillip Rivers, because they felt like Drew Brees wasn't giving them enough. And then when they drafted Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees made it hard for Phillip Rivers to hit the field, which, regardless to the shoulder injury of Drew Brees, more than likely the San Diego Chargers would have went with Phillip Rivers anyway. Like, you don't draft a quarterback that high to have him sit on a bench. So they probably would have ended up, one, if Drew Brees was under contract, trading him, or just letting Drew Brees go anyway. Now, the question would be, if Drew Brees played in that Pro Bowl game and looked good and, you know, didn't get hurt at all, would he have ended up in New Orleans? That's the question. But all things happen for a reason. But I also believe that Drew Brees is the greatest free agent of all time. I think he's the greatest free agent of all time. I know that Reggie White was a force in Philadelphia. And, you know, he ended up going to the Green Bay Packers, right? That was, to me, the second greatest free agent pickup. Third, I would probably say Kurt Warner. Like, Kurt Warner going from the Giants to the Arizona Cardinals, leading them to a Super Bowl, and they came within one play of winning it. So there's a few guys, but when you talk, like, Drew Brees, like, had a whole career after the San Diego Chargers let him go. He's the greatest free agent of all time. I dare anybody to compare anybody to what Drew Brees did being signed by the New Orleans Saints in 2006. Back in 2006, I was at Memorial Hospital here in Gulfport, Mississippi with my grandmother while having hip surgery, and I got the news that the Saints signed Drew Brees. I was excited. At the time, I knew Drew Brees, you know, but I thought that Drew Brees would have brought stability to the quarterback room, but I in not in my wildest dreams did I ever envision what he did. Like the Pro Football Hall of Fame career that he had. Like, I would have never envisioned that. Now, I have watched Drew Brees, like, for a long time. I'm talking about before he even got to the National Football League. Like Drew Brees was at Purdue. I mean, I remember watching Drew Brees because I was just so amazed at how many passes he used to throw at Purdue. Like Drew Brees would be like 50 or 63 for 475 yards. Like he was throwing the ball 50 and 60 times a game. And I'm like, man, that dude's arm gonna fall off. And I always remember that Drew Brees had a 4.0 GPA. Like that just always stuck out to me, man. Like he was a great athlete. He was a great student as well, man. And he just threw the ball all over the place, man. I think one time Drew Brees threw the ball like 80 some times in a game. Like that, I was always amazed by that. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist, right? And like Drew Brees has always been solid, right? But just like in college, he was always the bridesmaid and never the bride because he was too short. You know, a lot of people didn't like his arm talent, and they wanted something a little bit more than that. But Drew Brees has always been the man. Drew Brees has always been the man, always been very respectable, very credible in the football realms. It just sometimes, so people that look ordinary, play ordinary, sometimes don't get the recognition. And I mentioned this before, like you have those quarterbacks that can throw 70 yards on one knee. They can propose to their girl and throw a 80-yard touchdown. And that's what people fall in love with, the sidearm talent. Guys falling back in a pocket and delivering a 50-yard dime down the field. Like those are the things that people love. And, that's incredible in its own right. But sometimes it's good to have an appreciation for guys that just do things right. Right? Like it's not always just amazing, like just taking a sword and just chopping, like just get it over with instantly, right? Sometimes, it's still as effective as a debt of 1,000 cuts, right? Right? I mean, that's what Drew Brees gave you every single Sunday, debt of 1,000 cuts, right? Every mistake that you made, like Drew Brees just exploited. And, it was like a guy just playing chess. I mentioned that also on last episode. But let me go ahead and open up the phone lines here. Feel free to chime in. I'd like to hear your stories about the legendary quarterback Drew Brees. Let's see. In 06, I think people tuned into the Saints to watch Reggie Bush. And on the first pass from Drew Brees, we knew he was special. I remember when Drew Brees, I think his first game, he played, week one, when they played against the Cleveland Browns, right? Like his stat line wasn't anything to knock his socks off. Let me see. Drew Brees, first Saints game. I'm gonna see what his. I don't think his stats was. I don't think his stats was like that eye popping. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing. All right, his first game was September 10th of 2006. He was 16 of 30 for 170 yards, one touchdown, one pick. I mean, it wasn't nothing to like, man, like, man, we got our quarterback of the future. Like it wasn't nothing like that. It was, it was like, man, okay, let's see what else he has. It was just as time went on. As the weeks went by, you started to see it. That's why I say that Dallas Cowboy game, that's when I feel like Drew Brees, Drew Brees really turned it on. What I'm doing right now is I'm putting in like what his stats were per game in 2006. Because, it took some time for Drew Brees to learn Sean Payton's offense. I mean, it's a very complex offense. I mean, we know about the different personnel packages and all that they have. But, like I said, he had a really good season. He started to come on, as the season started to like go on. And like I said, I think that's that game where, it just kind of stuck out to me was the game and against the Dallas Cowboys, because he was so surgical in that game. I think that's when like everybody just woke up and was like, man, Drew Brees, man, this dude can be something. He can be something special for the Saints. I think that was the game. And like I said, I'm continuing to look this up because I'm looking on Pro Football Reference, because Pro Football Reference, they sometimes they do a really good job at being able to break down every single game. Like you can actually click on it, the year, and you click on the stats, and it'll tell you like every single, what his stats were for every single game. So let's see. All right. So I mentioned the game versus Cleveland. He was 16 of 30 for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Then against Green Bay, 26 of 41, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And against Atlanta, where they won 23-3, that was of course, the Saints game, the first time in the Dome. He was 20 of 28, 191 yards. Then you had the Carolina Panthers, in which they lost, but he was 28 of 38, 349 yards and a touchdown. And let's go to this Cowboy game I was referencing. This game right here, like I said, this when everybody was like, okay, man, this dude about to be the truth. He was 26 of 38, 384 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That was the best game that he played the entire season. Now, he put up a bunch of 300-yard games, but it was like, a lot of the games where he put up those type of yards, they lost. There's a couple games on here. Like they played against Baltimore, he threw for 383 yards, they lost. Against Pittsburgh, he threw for 398 yards, they lost. I mean, so, but that Dallas Cowboy game to me stuck out. That stuck out to me, all right? That was a game that just showed me like, man, this dude going to end up being something special. And it just made me, like, for the first time, believe that the New Orleans Saints had a quarterback. TJ in the intro for Tyler Shuck. Yeah, man, that was pretty dope, man. That was pretty, I'm not going to lie. That was pretty dope to actually see that and actually hear it, man. So, yeah, shouts out to the New Orleans Saints media team for adding your boy into the package. Hey, man, look, if Tyler Shuck end up, having a great career, like I can always go back and be like, hey, man, that's my voice. When he was talking about he should be Rookie of the Year, when he won Pepsi Rookie of the Year. Let's see, TJ, I won't be able to call in tonight. Maybe next time or next week, I'll call in and give you my favorite Breeze moments. Well, it sounds good, man. Look, I understand. It's Friday night, a lot of people out, but I did want to just stay true, to the people and, try to, make this show happen. And like I said, I know it's Friday. A lot of people out probably doing other things. Me, man, I'm old, man. I'm at the house right now. I'm at the house. But I guess we can go ahead and flip the script, man. We can go ahead and flip the script. But, oh, man, my bad. I ain't even see Dalton in here. Dalton, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. I appreciate you for chiming in. We talking Drew Brees. We talking the Super Bowl. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I mean, I'm at home watching SmackDown.
Oh, man. I seen a little bit of that. I seen some clips of my boy Cody Rhodes out there, man, him beating up on Drew McIntyre. But yeah, man, it was I didn't get a chance to check out everything. I'm gonna check out the recap when it's over now, but I'll probably check it out after this show.
All right, cool. First off, before I get to Drew Brees' favorite moment, shout out to Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, because them two are my favorite all-time players.
Oh man, that Larry Fitzgerald. I can have a whole show about Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, like there's a few guys that I just admire. Like during the time when I played, it was like it was Marvin Harrison and it was Larry Fitzgerald. And I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, like he just played the game the right way, man. Like he wasn't flashy or anything like that. They threw the ball to him, he caught it. Like his touchdown celebration, of course, was throwing the ball back to the referee. I wasn't like that, right? I mean, I'm gonna let you know about it, but but at the end of the day, man, he was just a great wide receiver overall, man. He was a great player to watch, man. And that magical run back in 2000, I want to say 2007, when they went to the playoffs, man, like he was just on another level. Like he was basically unstoppable, though.
Agreed, and a true class act like him and Brees.
Oh yeah, man, yeah, no doubt about it. I think that whole class, like they deserve it. Like there's not a person out here that can argue that neither one of those gentlemen don't belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I was actually shocked that Roger Craig wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Like I always thought that he was, but man, every guy on that stage deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Like if you make an argument about any one of those guys, man, you just want to argue. Like all of those guys are great.
Agreed, and also my finally Raj Goodell, like it's feel like he got in late though, but finally got in though. And Adam Vinatieri, one of the best kickers though, got Tom Brady in the Super Bowl rings. And Luke Kuechly, don't be wrong, I respect Luke Kuechly. I like him. I don't blame him for retiring concussion early. But I feel like he got in there a little bit early though. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? Absolutely though, but I don't know if he's a second pro because due to his career injuries. I mean, he had a pretty good career though. I just didn't know if he got there just earlier time though. But I mean, he deserved it. Don't be wrong. I'm happy for him though.
Yeah, I think the one thing that helped him was he was dominant from the time he got to the NFL to the time, he left. Like there was no year where he was lacking. Like he was he played eight seasons and he was a 7-time All-Pro. That's insane. Like I feel like it's the same way with Aaron Donald. Like Aaron Donald didn't play very long. I think we played like 8 or 9 years, but he got like 8 All-Pros, 9 Pro Bowl bids. It's like you don't have to play for a million years in order for you to hit the Hall of Fame. Like you just have to make an impact. That's the reason why I think Terrell Davis got in. Now that's an argument. Now that's an argument to me. Like Terrell Davis getting in there, like he didn't play very long, and you can they had those Super Bowl years where they ran the ball a lot with him, but Luke Kuechly, I think that he did enough to be able to be in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's like Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes only played, he's going into like his 10th season. Like if he were retire right now, like he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's just certain accolades that they have, Dalton, that I just think that push them towards the forefront. And you don't have to play a long time in order for you to be able to achieve greatness. And I just think Luke Kuechly definitely did it in a short period of time. So I mean, you can put a 10-year NFL veteran resume over Luke Kuechly, and they probably still wouldn't like be able to equal to some of the things that he did in a short period of time.
True. And don't forget, I'll be in the first ballot Hall of Fame when I retire, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Look, I don't think there's a doubt in our mind that Patrick Mahomes, will not be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I mean, that would be a shock to everybody. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Look, and we gotta let everybody know, look, that we give Dalton we talk about Dalton because he just sounds exactly like Patrick Mahomes. So he's our resident Patrick Mahomes for those that may be wondering what we're talking about here. But yeah, Patrick, you definitely will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. But Dalton, I do have a question for you, man. Super Bowl 60 years of the Super Bowl. You got the Patriots, you got the Seahawks. Who's winning the football game and why, man?
I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks. No reason why, because their defense, they're very underrated, though. And Sam Darnold, he's trying to get revenge against Patriots. Because let's not forget, though, he has 0 wins against the Patriots, though. I think it was 1 touchdown and 9 receptions and overall, though. But
man, I hope that don't happen in the Super Bowl this Sunday. Look, I'm happy for Sam Darnold. It's just something about guys who end up like overcoming the narrative. Like this guy got drafted by the Jets. We all know about that famous night where he was mic'd on Monday Night Football talking about he's seeing ghosts. Ironically, I want to say was it against the Patriots?
Yep.
Where he was actually seeing those ghosts. But anyway, man, he bounced around the league. He found success last year in Minnesota. Minnesota decided that they wanted to go with J.J. McCarthy. That's looking like a mistake right now. I mean, his career is still young, but he ends up going to Seattle, man, and finding life. And credit to him. And it's not like he just out there game managing. Like he's making a tremendous impact on the offensive side of the football for the Seattle Seahawks. And that defense is good. But I just think that Sam Darnold gonna play well in the game, man. I think he'll play well in the game. But I just want to see a good Super Bowl. I just want to see a good Super Bowl, and I'm just glad that you got some teams in here that, even though the Patriots have been around for a long time, there's still a new cast of characters, new coach, new quarterback. It's good to see something new and something refreshing a little bit.
Agreed. About the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
let's say if the Seahawks win, I got Ernest Jones as Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, if the Patriots do win, I got Marcus Jones because I think it's going to be a defense. I think it's going to be one of the defense, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that both defenses are going to be able to, come to play. I'm a little bit concerned at what I saw versus the Denver Broncos from the New England Patriots. They weren't able to move the football, and I do think that the Denver Broncos defense is very, very good, but I think Seattle defense is on another level. Now, you're playing in some better elements. I don't expect for a blizzard to come through in the second half to just completely just wipe out any chances for any team to be able to find success. But I think that both teams, with these two coaches and having a couple weeks to be able to strategize and come up with a game plan, I think that you're going to see some really good football, and you're going to see two teams that's going to dot the I's and cross the T's. But I think it might come down to special teams, man. I want to see my guy Rashid Shaheed return a punt for a touchdown, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see Rashid Shaheed make a play, man. I'm happy for that guy. I bet you his wildest dream that at the beginning of the season that he would have ended up being in the Super Bowl and it would be on a completely different team, man. So I'm rooting for Rashid Shaheed, man. I hope that he returns a kick in the Super Bowl.
I'll be honest, though. I mean, even though we'll see, though, I got Shaheed as a punt return touchdown. I mean, I want to get carried away, but that's what I got in my prediction.
Oh, man. Look, I like that prediction, Dalton. I like that. I hope you're right, because I want to see that, man. I like Rashid Shaheed. There's not a person that can say anything bad about him. I mean, even like when he was doing his press conferences for the Super Bowl, shouts out to Ross Jackson. Ross actually talked to him, and he asked him about the things that he missed about New Orleans, and I think there was also a conversation that said he would be open to coming back to New Orleans. Now, I think Seattle gonna pay him, but if he was a free agent, man, that would be cool to have Rashid Shaheed come back and still play for the New Orleans Saints. I think that would be pretty dope.
Now we equal to speaking about the Saints, though, about Drew Brees. My favorite moment of all time when he broke Dan Marino's record on Monday Night Football game against the Falcons.
Oh yeah. That was a great moment. Like I said, my great that moment that I mentioned, Dalton, in 2006. I just think that was the moment where I realized that the Saints weren't the Saints that I remember growing up. I think the greatest moment to me, the greatest Drew Brees moment, it had to happen back in 2017. Like, it was a game against the then Washington Redskins when Drew Brees in 5 minutes end up going out there, man. Like, they had no business winning that football game. And Drew Brees actually facilitated a comeback with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, man. I mean, that game right there was probably the most exciting football game I've seen in a minute. And Drew Brees was just out there, man, just carving it up, man. There's several other games that I can just think of, but that game kind of stood out to me because it just shows you, no matter what the score is, as long as you had number 9 on the field, you had a chance of coming back and trying to win a football game. So that's my greatest Drew Brees moment for me for those last 5 minutes of that Redskin game.
Same here. And also, my very underrated one that never talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Saints and the Cowboys in 2013 when the Saints had a 40 touchdowns? Like, not touchdowns, first downs. Like, no one you could not get 40 first downs, but look what happened.
Oh, man. They had 40 first down. Yeah, I remember that game, man. They had them 40 first down. They had some classic games, like against the Cowboys. I know you remember that Thanksgiving game where, the Cowboys they were going to go ahead and pretty much, milk the clock. You had a quick slant. I don't even think Tony Romo played in that game. I think it was John Kitna.
It was John Kitna because Tony Romo had a collarbone season injury, so it was John Kitna.
Right. So John Kitna hit Roy Williams on a quick slant, and Malcolm Jenkins just rips the ball out of his hand, gives the ball back to Drew Brees, and Drew Brees just completely just matriculates the ball down the field. He hits Lance Moore for a touchdown in the red zone in order for the Saints to beat the Cowboys, man. And at the time, I was actually staying in Dallas, Texas at the time, man. And no, just to see that, man, that was the first time the New Orleans Saints played on Thanksgiving. And for them to beat the Cowboys when, boy, they had so many Cowboy fans at their watch party I was at for Thanksgiving, and just seeing their faces just completely just melt like the Wicked Witch of the West. I mean, it was just amazing, Dalton. I mean, I loved every minute of that, man.
Same here.
It was amazing, man. You got anything else, my friend?
Well, actually, I do got one more before I get off here. I'm pretty sure everybody's waiting, though. So, we all know Drew Brees is going to be in the Hall of Fame, though. Who do you think is going to be a presenter? Do you think it's going to be Sean Payton, or do you think it's going to be anyone else?
I think it has to be Sean Payton. I think it has to be Sean Payton. Because, I mean, these two are conjoined at the hip, man. You you can't talk about Drew Brees without Sean Payton. You can't talk about Sean Payton without Drew Brees. I mean, it only makes sense if Sean Payton inducts him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If it's not him, it has to be somebody that's really, really close to him. I don't know who his friend. I'm always see somebody like LaDainian Tomlinson. I know he's really close to him, or somebody of that nature. But I just think it has to be Sean Payton. it has to be.
It's gonna be
I can't think of anybody else.
I mean, let's see. You got Sean Payton on your mind. Brittany Brees, Drew Brees' wife, Marcus Colston, LT. I mean, he's got plenty. You can't go wrong either way, though. I mean, he's got a lot on his mind, though. I mean, you just can't go wrong.
Yeah. I think that more than likely it will be Sean Payton unless Sean Payton just declines, but I don't see that happening. I mean, this is the first player to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame that's under the Sean Payton tree. So yeah, I would think so. I mean, you have to you have to be able to do that. So man, like I said, man, both of these guys are so synonymous with the city, man, and I mean, it's a beautiful story. It's one of the best NFL stories ever written. That two guys that just come here. You got a coach that, it wasn't his first choice, but he made it his first choice. He made the situation better. And you had a quarterback that needed a city, and a city, that needed a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of those situations where it was just a match made in heaven, man. The city of New Orleans needed Drew Brees, and Drew Brees needed the city, and together, they just made some magical moments, man. And Sean Payton definitely was the linchpin behind all that. So I think you have to pick Sean Payton.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I appreciate it, Dalton, man. It's like always. Thank you so much for chiming in, and I look forward to talking to you in the future, man. And regardless of what happens, I hope we have a good Super Bowl, man.
Also, too, and thank you for my show. I'm hoping to see you when you get back on the show. Open the phone line.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Dalton.
All right, no problem, bro.
All right. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Dalton, man. And also shouts out to him advocating for, autism awareness, man. That's something that's very near and dear to me, man. So, shouts out to him, and got so many people out here deal with autism. And him spreading awareness and letting people know about it, man. That's amazing, man. Shouts out to you, man. Shouts out to you. Let me go ahead and read some more of your comments here. And once again, thank you all for sticking around here tonight. If you're just joining us, we're talking a little bit about Drew Brees. What are your favorite Drew Brees moments? You have a memory about Drew Brees? Feel free to put it in the chat if you don't want to call in tonight. We're remembering the legendary Drew Brees career. All right. Let's see. Who Dat Nation on Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be let's see, Striving Skating 20 live stream. Let's see, Talking Saints and Super Bowl and all season. Everybody is welcome. Also, shouts out to Jerry. I apologize, man. I've seen this a little bit later, right after I end up closing out the show. But Jerry on the channel, man, he reached 900 subscribers. So congratulations to you, Jerry. And you know that's an incredible feat, man. And it takes a lot of consistency for you to be able to get to to that landmark, man. So just continue to put out great content, and man, you'll be at 9,000, and then 1,900, and then 90,000. So man, just keep on keeping on and keep on putting out good content and doing what you love, man. Let's see, all the 20 completed passes in a row. Wow. And thank you, TJ, and everyone. Jeremiah was good. Giving a shout out to Jeremiah. Appreciate you for being here, Jeremiah. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Shouts out to Josh talking about Larry Fitzgerald. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to find what you said. But I do apologize. He was talking about Larry Fitzgerald. I know I just seen it. Came across it, but he was just talking about Larry Fitzgerald being the truth. Yeah, he definitely was the truth, man. I just like the way Larry Fitzgerald played, man. From the time he was at Pittsburgh, I remember his sophomore year, man. He was a phenom his sophomore year at Pitt, and everybody just knew that he was going to be a really good player. And he always, was out there, gave you everything that he had. And then also credit to him when he started to get into the twilight of his career. The Arizona Cardinals convinced him to move from the outside to the inside, and he had a second life, being a little bit of a slot receiver, because he was so sure-handed. He was a big body guy, and, he was just hard to stop. 500 yards against Cincinnati. They lost, TJ. Yeah, man. Most of the games, because of the Saints defense. Like, people would talk about Drew Brees stats and talking about he padding stats, but Drew Brees had, that's how I know. That's how I know people don't watch Saints football, and they have not watched Saints football. Oh, man, he padding stats. Drew Brees needed to throw every one of those passes. He had to throw for every one of those yards. In order for Drew Brees will have 350 yards in a game and be tied at 27. He had to throw for them yards. It's crazy that people just sitting up here talking about he was padding stats. He had to go out there because the defense was garbage. Man, can you imagine if the Saints had a defense like the Seahawks? If the Saints had a defense like the 49ers have most years? Man, Drew Brees would probably have 3 or 4 rings right now. People oh, he had back-to-back 7 and 9 seasons. Man, the fact that the Saints, my goodness, they couldn't stop traffic with a stop sign. Do you hear me? They couldn't stop a cab in New York City. I'm telling you, they could not stop anybody. If you look at those games, Drew Brees will go out there, 12 plays, 75-yard drive. All right, man, we cooking now. Defense will go down there in 5 plays, give up a big play. Okay, Drew Brees go back out there. Touchdown again. Defense, give up a big play. Drew Brees go back out there again. Probably get the boys into field goal range. Defense, give up a big play again. Oh, man, that Saints are down. Now Drew Brees got to go back out here and throw the ball all over the place. Most of the time, the Saints defense was looking like slow most of the time. And if the offense wasn't getting into gear most of the time because maybe they were playing against a formidable defense, Drew Brees had to throw the ball all over the place because the defense made it very difficult for the offense to have a bad day. So when people talk about padding stats, what have you been watching? Padding stats to me is I don't know, man, Derek Carr. For most of the time, you're the reason why your team in a situation at the end. And now you got to come out here with the 4th quarter heroics looking like you got the S on your chest. No, man. No. Drew Brees would go out there first quarter, first drive. Matriculating the ball down the field, carving up defenses, and the defense can't stop nobody. Most of the time, Drew Brees came to play every single week, and he had to throw for every bit of those yards in order for the Saints to win. The fact that the Saints were 7-9 those back-to-back seasons were a testament more so to Drew Brees being a really good quarterback versus the Saints being inept. Like, seriously, if the Saints didn't have Drew Brees, the Saints probably would have won 3 games, 4 games. Drew Brees was the truth, man. I ain't about to let nobody sit up here talking about the man was out here padding stats. Then they want to minimize it. Oh, he played in a dome. So what? They have a lot of quarterbacks that had questionable quarterback play that played in a dome. Jeff George played in a dome. They said that man could thread the needle. Jeff George, that man had a cannon on him. Played in a dome and could play dead in a Western movie. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. I can name a couple more guys who played in domes and couldn't get the job done. If that's the case, like why we minimize, oh, he played in control elements. Man, you got some guys playing in control elements every week and couldn't throw a party for their 5-year-old. Man, y'all better put some respect on that quarterback name. Y'all better put some respect on Drew Brees' name. That was greatness. That was greatness every single week. When number 9 ran out the tunnel, everybody felt like the Saints were going to win. And hopefully Tyler Shuck can get it done. We can be talking about Tyler Shuck the same way we talking about Drew Brees. I'm lobbying for Marcus Colston to get into the Hall of Fame at least in 5 years, at least. I don't think that's happening, man. I don't think that's happening. And it's not Marcus Colston's fault. Marcus Colston was a victim of his own personality. And what I mean by that is he played during the era of the flashy, flamboyant wide receiver. Steve Smith, Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, whatever you want to call them. These were the type of guys that everybody fell in love with, right? The diva receiver, Brandon Moss. Those were the guys that everybody loved and everybody loved to watch and everybody loved the antics and it made them household names. With guys like Marcus Colston, I mean, that was it for you, right? After every touchdown. Pointing up to the sky, they call him the Quiet Storm. Like you won't get attention with a name like the Quiet Storm. He was an efficient wide receiver. He was a guy that you can count on every single week. He was a guy that made some tough catches in traffic, a big body guy. And, you know, he definitely deserved more recognition than he got. But I think that because he was so quiet and reserved, and you had so many other diva receivers out here that was getting the attention and had the look at me type personality, I think that hurt Marcus Colston. Because Marcus Colston never made the Pro Bowl. Like, and you look at his numbers, there were years where he should have made the Pro Bowl. I mean, you getting 12 and 1,300 yards in a season, and you ain't making a Pro Bowl, 8 and 9 touchdowns, and you ain't making a Pro Bowl? Like I said, he was a quiet guy, and I think that's the reason why Marcus Colston, didn't get the respect that he deserved. And Marcus Colston was out here dancing after touchdowns and, probably being a little bit more animated like Lance Moore was. I think that probably people would have paid him a little bit more attention. But because he was so quiet, he just did his job, man. He was hard hat and lunch pail. Like, he was ready to come to work. Man, when trying to flip over no table and trying to rattle no cage. And sometimes those type of players fall under the radar and they don't get the appreciation they deserve. Marcus Colston definitely deserves to be recognized, as one of the best wide receivers of his era. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen because of his personality. And people love themselves some entertaining football players. I was actually shocked that Bobby Wagner won Walter Payton Man of the Year. I thought they was going to get that to Travis Kelce. Drew Brees is a real legendary quarterback in entire years, TJ. Tyler Shuck did good last year. Spencer Rattler bench. Original quarterback did good. Yards, touchdown, passes, catch, won MVP, Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Look, I think that both quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, I think that they both can have, really good careers. I'm not ready to wash my hands with Spencer Rattler. I think he'll get his opportunity if it's not with the Saints somewhere else. And Drew Brees, he pretty much he solidified his career. And he deserves all the recognition, all the flowers that he's going to be getting over the next couple of months, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Mark Bulger played in the Dome. Hey, hey man, I ain't gonna talk about Mark Bulger. Like Mark Bulger was pretty decent. He had a couple good years now. And then when he started getting those injuries, the play started to slip. But man, look, that was a time where the Saints wanted Mark Bulger. They wanted him on their team. I can remember that. The Saints wanted to sign him before you with the St. Louis Rams. Like he had some decent years, man. Like, was he like a household name? There were a couple of years, man. He was flirting with the MVP, but then he started to have those injuries, and of course they signed Sam Bradford, and that was kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. Unfortunately, Sam Bradford was good, but he just couldn't stay healthy, and the rest is history. But Mark Bulger was all right. He's all right. I mean, respectable. Nobody gonna say he was the worst quarterback they ever seen. He was that I'll take a flyer on this guy type guy. If Jimmy would have stuck around, he would be a first ballot candidate also. I agree with that. But, start talking about money, starting negotiating, talking about you want to be a wide receiver. With that wide receiver money, they throw the ball to me 100 times, right? And he ended up going to Seattle. And, Seattle, they won't run the football. I mean, it's raining up there most of the time. They want to run the football, right? You can't just throw the ball 30, 40 times in Seattle. Right? They want to run the football. They want to play some smash mouth, hard-hitting football. When they say it never rains in Southern California, but it damn sure rains in Seattle, Washington. Let's see, coasting is very underrated, extremely underrated, extremely. Do you think Wes Welker will ever go into the Hall of Fame? Yes, I do. I do believe that Wes Welker will go into the Hall of Fame. Just like I feel like Julian Edelman probably eventually will go into the Hall of Fame. Probably down the line, ain't going to be no first ballot. Let's look at some of the guys like this. Like we're towards the end of the show. And feel free to put your comments in the chat. We still talking Drew Brees, still talking Super Bowl. But let me go ahead and see, man. Let me try to create a list of guys who had great careers who are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Let's see if we can actually do this. See if we can get some guys on here. Look up some players who were really good, not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Because every single year, you have a list of guys in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Guys get in, players get in, and people start talking about, man, what about this guy? What about that guy? Did I freeze up? I think I froze. My apologies, man. I didn't realize that I froze up. I think I gotta do a little bit of a wiping of this laptop, man. I done had this laptop for quite some time and got a lot of stuff on here, man. So y'all know how it goes. It starts to slow down a little bit. So I apologize if the show went out on y'all. Let's see. I will never forget that Texans game Monday night in 2019. Yeah, man, that was a good game right there. It came down to a 57-yard field goal by Will Lutz. Yeah, on Monday night, right, to open up the season. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good football game. Let's see. Players who are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that had great careers. You know, the more I look at it, man, the more I get afraid for guys like Cam Jordan. I get afraid for guys like Cam Jordan, man, because Cam Jordan has 132 sacks and he's coming back next year, so he probably get up to like probably 140. I think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but the fact that he never been to the Super Bowl, I think they probably gonna end up hurting him. Man. But I think he definitely should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But we'll go ahead and take a look here. I'm gonna try to X out some of this stuff here. Maybe that'll help us not be so lacking. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so you got Reggie Wayne, who was the Robin to Marvin Harrison Batman, and then became Batman when Marvin Harrison retired. Will Anderson, the offensive tackle, Torrey Holt, Terrell Suggs, right? Ken Anderson, who I feel like was extremely underrated quarterback because everybody was with the John Elway. Like that reminds me. That reminds me of kind of like with Drew Brees or whatever. The only thing is Drew Brees actually won a Super Bowl. Like Ken Anderson was really good, but you had Dan Marino, John Elway, Joe Montana. You know, you had those guys at their height in their prime, and it was out there. Now, I think that Ken Anderson kind of fell short. Not to mention Cincinnati Bengals were absolutely train wreck, you know, most of the time. But in the 80s, man, they used to always end up in the Super Bowl. Ken Anderson was quarterback here. L.C. Greenwood, Sterling Sharp. Now, Sterling Sharp actually in the Hall of Fame. That's not right. Eli Manning is always a conversation. Frank Gore, Steve Tasker. Look, Steve Tasker belongs in the Hall of Fame. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. Look, if you're going to put guys like Devin Hestoff in that thing, if you're going to put like some of these special teams players like Vinatieri and you know, Morton Anderson, all of them, right? When people talk about kickers not a real position, say that when you got 3 seconds on the clock and you need to win a football game. But Steve Tasker definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like he's one of the best special teams players of all time. Like when you can solidify a position, when a position is synonymous with you gotta put this guy in the Hall of Fame. Said, what about Brett Favre? Brett Favre, first ballot Hall of Fame. He definitely went into the Hall of Fame. Prime Ram shut down JJ Watt. Yeah, he definitely did, man. That's somebody that probably could have been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but unfortunately his body failed him, his knees and stuff like that, man. But look, Ram got his bag, man, and he was a really good Saint, man. Ryan Ramczyk, one of my top 5 favorite Saints of all time. Like I don't buy like football jerseys, I just don't. But Ryan Ramczyk would definitely be a Saint jersey I would buy. Like I have appreciation for the big boys, man. The hog, you know what I'm saying, the hog maulers, so to speak, man, because like people don't pay that much attention. I'm glad that the NFL honors actually got an award for Protector of the Year. I'm glad that these offensive linemen gonna get some attention because none of this stuff is possible without the big men on the offensive side of the football. So yeah, man, shouts out to Ram. But those are a few players, man, that aren't in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, it is going to be a continued topic of Eli Manning. I think more than likely Eli Manning probably going to get in next year. I think that's going to be a conversation that people have, like, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I think it depends on who you ask. But I think if his name was Eli Jenkins, I don't think that we'll be having this conversation. I think that his name carries weight and also some Super Bowl championships. But if you look at it, I'm going to just keep it a buck. Like, if his name wasn't Manning, Eli Manning would have a career. People would just look at him as like Joe Flacco. I want to say Eli Manning win-loss record, who was like 118 and 118 or something like that, like a C-plus player. And look, I ain't got nothing but respect for Eli Manning. I think that Eli Manning was was a good quarterback. He stepped up when things, when he needed to step up. He played some of his best football. And, of course, he beat Tom Brady twice, and that's what people are going to continue to say. But if his last name wasn't Manning, I don't think we'll be having these type of conversations. I think that he's a part of football royalty in the National Football League. And I think that because he's football royalty, people are trying to fight and have him in the trenches. They trying to be in the trenches for this man. But like I said, if his name was Eli Jenkins, if his name was Eli Harris, if his name was Eli Jordan, I don't think we'll be having this conversation. Well, maybe if he was related to Michael Jordan, but I think his name carries weight. It carries weight. See, Reggie Wayne, Steve Tasker, Ken Anderson deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I think Ken Anderson gonna hear his name called hope like probably the next couple of years. Now we getting down to like the classic guys. Like they always select at least one guy from the golden era, right? The 80s, the 70s, right? They always select at least one guy from there. Always do. All right. So hopefully, they start like ciphering, like through different players, and Ken Anderson name comes up because he definitely deserves to be in there. Modern era quarterback, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Drew Brees. Like Ben Roethlisberger is not in the Hall of Fame yet. Let me see when Ben Roethlisberger retired. He should be a part of that list, I believe, next year. Because I think he played like one more year than Drew Brees did. I think he retired in 2021. Yep. He retired in 2021. All right, so let's see. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I don't know how I guess he was eligible. Was he eligible for the Hall of Fame? Or what? No, okay. So he retired after the 2021 season. Okay, so yeah, he'll be eligible. He'll be eligible in 2027. So yeah, I mean, Big Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, let's look at the accolades here. 2-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL passing yards leader. He was no All Pros. Right? But 2-time Super Bowl champion, multi-time Pro Bowler when it actually meant something. I think he'll get in there. He threw for 64,088 yards, 418 touchdowns, 211 interceptions. He definitely probably going to end up being in the Hall of Fame. First ballot, I think those 2 Super Bowls probably going to put him over the top. On top of the fact that they won a lot, never, missed the playoffs like that, always had a winning season. Those are the type of things that they're going to take into consideration. Let's see who is eligible in 2027. Let's see who is eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2027. Let's see who we got. Let's see who we got coming up. Let's see some names. All right, so might be tough, might be a little rough. I know 2 guys right off the bat about to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame next year. Rob Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson. Then you got Ben Roethlisberger. You got guys, okay, here's a few more. Richard Sherman, Andrew Whitworth, Antonio Brown, Cam Newton. I don't know Cam Newton getting in there. AB deserves to be in there, but they probably think he's too damn crazy. Probably ain't gonna let him do it. But yeah, man. I mean, look, Sherm. Yeah. What y'all think? Yeah or nay? Yeah or nay? Let me hear them names, okay? Just put the person first name and yay or nay. Rob Gronkowski, I'm saying yay. Adrian Peterson, yay. Ben Roethlisberger, I'm gonna say yay. Richard Sherman, I'm gonna say yay. I think Andrew Whitworth, yeah. I mean, played a long time, consistent. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be rough next year, especially if Gronk, nay, come on, man. Come on, man. Hold on. We got to dust this off, man. It's been a minute since I played this, but come on, man. Come on. Heads to the knob, man. That's definitely it's definitely a yay, man. Gronk, come on, man. One of the most dominant tight ends of all time. Definitely getting into the Hall of Fame. It's gonna be rough, man, especially if you only have a certain amount of guys. Like somebody gonna be on the outside looking in. Somebody gonna be on the outside looking in. I think Sherm might be there. I think Sherm might be the outside looking in because you know they're gonna have to they're gonna want to put a quarterback in there. Big Ben. They're gonna put. I feel like they're gonna put Andrew Whitworth up in there. I mean, he always on TV, very personable guy. You know, played the game the way it was supposed to be played for a long time. Adrian Peterson, that's a no-brainer. Like, come on, man. Go ahead and just put the man up in there. A lot of first ballot. There's a lot of guys that gonna be first ballot Hall of Fame. Adrian Peterson definitely gonna be a first ballot Hall of Fame. Gronk definitely gonna be a first ballot Hall of Fame. You could probably make an argument if Big Ben gonna be able to get in there or not. I think he should. Antonio Brown, no way. No way they're gonna put this man in the Hall of Fame. No way they're gonna put him in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the way that this man is like, acting post football life, they ain't gonna want to associate with him like that. No way, no how. Ross, thank you very much for the 1999, man. Says, hey, TJ, my favorite Drew Brees moment was back in 06 against the Falcons when he hit Derrick Henderson on that 50-yard bomb touchdown on the first play of the game in the house, and they hit Terrence Copper. Ooh, that boy going back with this one on a Hail Mary touchdown as time expired. Man, thank you very much, Ross. That man said Terrence Copper, boy. That's 06 beside fire, right? Terrence Copper. Yeah, man, but all right, man. Shout out to Terrence Copper, man. Serviceable. I want to say that was the Saints person, Lance Moore, right there. See, Medea Newton is not a first back. Nah. You can make an argument if Cam Newton ever gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I just said that. I'm not saying that to hate. Cam Newton, one of the greatest college football players I've ever seen. All right. I think I respect Cam Newton. I think that he was a competitor. He was a dog. But at the end of the day, a lot of guys played the quarterback position much better. And, I think he might end up, let's see, you might want to fix your mic. Let me see what I sound like. Let me see what I sound like here. And I apologize. I'm gonna mute myself. Yeah, it sounds like I'm a robot or something. I don't know. It sounds like I'm a robot. All right, so I apologize, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. Guess I'm having a little bit of mic issues, man. I'm gonna try to get this laptop straight, but I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for checking out this edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you for your Drew Brees stories, and we'll continue to open up the phone lines in future shows. Shouts out to Dalton for chiming in. Shouts out to everybody that commented. Previous episodes available on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you follow me on X at TJAY Jones8, and also check out some of my content on Yahoo Sports and also on Bleacher Report, man. Daily New Orleans Saints shorts that you all can enjoy and check out. Make sure you all do just that. Till next time, all I got to say is